have Benny.
Now repeat what you just said in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, try, right?
So we got Wynn owns both sides of Springbridge Road.
But Wynn is Shamuth and Girth's daughter.
Yeah.
Happy and Mark Brody were April's parents. Troy Rummage and Carol were Pumpkin's parents. Steve and Carol had two girls, and they lived on the other end of Springbridge Road. But now it's Carol and Wayne Gontoski. And it's Girth and Steve.
Oh my gosh. And these are all hippies. This is Hippies of Greenbush in the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah, 60s and 70s. Matt Brody married a Rajah from some foreign country, and he became Prince something. And Matt Brody ran for select man or something here at one time. He got 9 votes. Yeah, and...
He was probably up against a Madden or a...
Well, just because he wanted to run. He had matchbooks covers made and all kinds of things to give out to people if they'd vote for him. In fact, I've got one of those somewhere here, somewhere in my junk.
What, a matchbook?
That says Matt Brody on it.
Oh my God.
Yep. Treasures. Mac, let's see. Troy Rummage and Carol and Pumpkin moved to New York. And they started a seed company. But they didn't live together. She lived on one side of this street, and he lived on the other side. And they had a seed company. They sold vegetable seeds and flower seeds. Big business. And Pumpkin, I don't know what his real name was, but he went on to get married. And Troy Rummage used to come up here every year. And he'd stop and visit with Mom and Dad. He was the one that married Donna and Morris.
Huh.
And let's see, Shamuth went on to teach college, and Girth bought the Blueberry Plains out in Greenfield. And she was with Steve. And Carol, we call her Peach, that had been with Steve, is now with Wayne Gontoski. And they had 2 daughters. Now let's see, Wynn has everybody's property back there.
Right.
That cover everybody.
She's a little bit of recluse. There. Yeah, let's see.
But Harold,
Happy.
And his woman that was a hippie here, the hippies didn't like him. He wasn't honest in his dealings, and he wasn't nice to his woman. He didn't provide for his family. The hippies didn't like him. He didn't last here long.
I don't know if it's politically correct in this day and age to call them hippies. We'd probably have to call them something else.
Well, we probably would.
You couldn't categorize them to begin with, more than likely.
No, you'd have to probably say their names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were a group of people that chose to live a little bit different than everybody else during the 60s and 70s.
But they weren't poor, and they weren't
poor.
dirty.
No, they went to town every now and again.
Well, if you could see the house that Wynn lives in, Shamuth and Girth built, it had indoor plumbing, it had a sauna, it had a water pump on the sink, and she sewed all of Wynn's baby clothes. Girth wanted old patterns, and I'd give her some, and out in flannel so she could make baby clothes. Very well educated, very, very smart people, because Girth is a nurse that works at a nursing home now. I don't know at what point she got her nursing, but I know that she's been working in a nursing home.
Yeah.
Her parents moved here from like Wisconsin. They lived down on the highway for years, but I guess they're both gone now because the house has been sold.
Right.
But Carol, kept it up for a long time when I think they were in a nursing home or something. And let's see, Troy Rummage and Carol and his wife had moved to New York. What did I say his wife's name was?
I have no idea. I can't keep them straight. That's why I figured I'd better videotape this, because nobody else knows this shit.
Well, Beatrice, Mark Brody's woman, went out across the states, and she married, and she had more kids, other than April, because April she had while she was here. But Mark Brody Judy had the best outfit back there because Mom and I would go out there, and it was a big circle, and it had buildings. Like, here was a music building, over there was a greenhouse, over here so-and-so lived, and Market Happy, and Baby April lived in one. And in the middle, there was a garden, there was a well of water, and there was a place where they all put their trash so they could burn it all the time.
So it was like a little community.
Yeah.
Who else lived there besides Mark and April?
I don't remember who else lived in that circle, but they all went to the University of Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they all provided for themselves. And their parents provided for them, but like Mama said their parents sent them money all the time so they'd stay here and wouldn't go to their parents and embarrass their friends because they all belonged to country clubs and all that.
Right.
But when they left here, they became a big part of a community, like Wynn. You know, when Lawton met Wynn and discovered that she was the one that her parents had given me their entire baby shower from the University of Maine. And he brought her up to talk with me when I went to he was living up over Pat's Pizza.
Yeah.
And he brought her up. I said, I'd never recognize you, Wynn, because last time I saw you, you was about 3 years old.
Right.
Because now she's as old as he is. So she has been all along.
Right. Hold on a minute.
There was solar.
What, at the Blueberry?
Yeah, they had an office to die for. It had a lunchroom, an office, indoor plumbing, and it was all solar. Beautiful, beautiful building. Their home was solar. That was gorgeous, too, right there on the Blueberry Plains. The same crew, they had rake every year. They raked for 3 weeks in August. That's all. She wouldn't let them rake other than that. And every year they burnt part of the Blueberry Plains. Not all of it. They burned part of it.
Right.
And bury it. And they had a freezer out there. So if you wanted like a 20-pound box of blueberries, you could go anytime and get it because they had them right there.
Frozen in the freezer.
Yeah, I took Mom out there to get blueberries every year, and Carol said, Gura said, we only rake for 3 weeks, and I have the same crew all the time. She said, some of them come from Burlington. She said they come every day, and they work for me every year, and it was only like 15 people. But she said that they were very dependable.
I wonder if those same people probably ain't raking blueberries now. I imagine it's probably other people that are raking at this point.
Well, I don't know, because one of them was one of the McLeods. I think it's Sharon. She told me from Burlington that came out. But they're probably raking for Turner Farms in Burlington now.
Yeah.
That's a big place. Because Levi told me that he was going to rake blueberries with that bunch of boys that time for his birthday, and I let him go. I think he was 15. And I let him go. No, they weren't there. Mom went with me. And somebody else. I had another kid with me. We went up to Ox Head. No, they weren't there. But they'd been there. Went to Turner Farm. No, they weren't there. They hadn't been there. Well, then I called the police. And they were found in a gravel pit in Lincoln.
The kids that he was supposed to go blueberry picking with?
Yeah, he was with them. And the police told me, he said, oh, if your grandson's with a bunch of boys, I'll tell you where they are. And I said, well, if you could bring him to the police station, I'll come and pick him up. He said, I can do that. So he didn't tell him what the problem was. He went and got him. He brought him to the police station, but without his fishing equipment, without his sleeping bag, without his backpack. He said, but Graham, I have to go get him. And I said, no, you don't. No, I've heard enough of this story. No, you have to go home with me.
Right.
Mom was furious with him. Oh my goodness, I mean, she was... I said, you all go to NOE the same days. You tell those boys to bring your equipment to NOE, and you can pick it up there. We never did get it.
No.
But that's, the police told me what kind of a crew it was and
Yeah.
who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Said keep your grandson away from them.
Lesson learned, though.
Lesson learned.